Welcome back to our channel, where we dive deep into the daily drama, corporate warfare, and passionate romances of your favorite daytime families. Today is a beautiful day to unravel the latest explosive developments from Los Angeles, as the halls of a legendary fashion house prepare to become a battlefield unlike anything we have ever witnessed before. The atmosphere within the sprawling, glass-paneled executive offices of Forrester Creations has always been thick with a unique blend of creative genius and cutthroat ambition. For decades, the legacy of Eric Forrester has been protected, fought over, and weaponized by the various factions that claim ownership over the dynastic empire. Yet, nothing in the storied, tumultuous history of this legendary fashion house could have possibly prepared anyone for the cataclysmic confrontation that is about to tear the very fabric of the Forrester family apart. The corporate sanctuary, a place where multi-million-dollar deals are struck and global trends are born, is on the precipice of becoming the epicenter of a brutal, unforgiving war, sparked by a single, unimaginable request from a father to his daughter. Steffy Forrester Finnegan has spent her entire adult life molding herself into the ultimate corporate warrior. She has bled for Forrester Creations, sacrificing her personal peace, her emotional stability, and countless hours to ensure that her family's legacy remains at the absolute pinnacle of the international fashion industry. She has navigated scandals, hostile takeovers, and internal power struggles with the ruthless efficiency of a seasoned general. In her mind, the co-CEO chair is not merely a job title. It is her birthright, her sanctuary, and the ultimate validation of her worth as a Forrester. She has ruled with an iron fist, convinced that her recent executive decisions, including the controversial pausing of the Hope for the Future line in favor of prioritizing Eric's couture, were the necessary, albeit unpopular, actions of a visionary leader. However, Steffy's unwavering hubris and her condescending dismissal of Hope Logan Spencer's grievances have unknowingly set the stage for her own potential undoing. She ignored the prophetic, desperate warnings of Carter Walton, who explicitly cautioned her that her tyrannical approach was pushing the company toward an irreversible disaster. She believed herself to be untouchable, shielded by her undeniable success and, more importantly, by the unconditional support of her father, Ridge Forrester. Ridge has always been Steffy's ultimate champion, the man who historically overlooked her transgressions and fiercely defended her position against all detractors. He was the impenetrable wall standing between Steffy and the relentless ambition of the Logan women. But the ground beneath Steffy's feet is about to shatter into a million jagged pieces. When Ridge Forrester finally walks into the executive office, the heavy, suffocating silence that follows him is the first indicator that the world, as Steffy knows, it is about to end. Ridge does not carry the demeanor of a proud father or a supportive co-CEO. His posture is burdened, his eyes filled with the agonizing mixture of regret, realization, and desperate resolve. He has experienced a terrifying awakening, recognizing the undeniable truth in Carter's warnings and witnessing firsthand the monstrous executive persona his daughter has adopted. Driven by a desperate need to preserve the company's stability and prevent Hope from defecting to the rival Logan brand, Ridge makes a calculated, devastating pivot. The words leave Ridge's mouth with a quiet, agonizing finality, yet they echo through the spacious office with the destructive force of a detonating bomb. He asks Steffy the unthinkable. He asks if she would be willing to step down from her position as co-CEO or perhaps take another, lesser role within the company so that Brooke Logan Forrester can step up and run Forrester Creations alongside him. He frames the request as a necessary sacrifice for the greater good, a strategic maneuver to keep the peace, appease the alienated factions, and secure the future of the enterprise. For a prolonged, agonizing moment, Steffy Forrester Finnegan cannot process the auditory information her brain is receiving. A visceral, suffocating wave of pure, unadulterated shock washes over her, effectively paralyzing her vocal cords and freezing the blood in her veins. She stares at the man standing before her, searching his familiar face for any sign of a cruel joke, a momentary lapse in sanity, or a hidden test of her loyalty. But there is no deception in Ridge's eyes, only a heartbreaking earnestness that confirms the horrific reality of the situation. Steffy cannot believe her ears. The concept of willingly vacating the throne she has fought so fiercely to secure is entirely alien to her, but the idea of surrendering it to Brooke Logan is an insult so profound, so deeply violating, that it threatens to tear her soul apart. The shock rapidly metabolizes into a suffocating, blinding agony of betrayal. This is not a corporate maneuver. This is a deeply personal, spiritual assassination. Ridge is not just her co-CEO. He is her father, her protector, the man who was supposed to prioritize her blood, her sweat, and her tears over everything else. Throughout her life, Steffy has watched Ridge waver romantically between her mother, Taylor, and Brooke. She has endured the emotional whiplash of his romantic indecision, but she always believed that when it came to the family legacy, when it came to the business that bore their name, she was his undisputed priority. Now, in the ultimate moment of truth, Ridge is choosing a Logan over his own flesh and blood. He is validating Hope's grievances and rewarding Brooke's relentless ambition at the direct expense of his daughter's life work. The silence in the room finally shatters, replaced by an eruption of unprecedented, volcanic fury. When Steffy finds her voice, it is not the measured, authoritative tone of an executive. It is the raw, guttural roar of a wounded lioness. She explodes with a rage so intense, so deeply rooted in decades of familial trauma and corporate warfare, that the very glass walls of the office seem to tremble in response. Steffy vehemently rejects the premise of Ridge's request, her words slicing through the air with lethal precision. She demands to know how he could possibly stand before her and ask her to hand over the keys to the kingdom to a woman who has spent her entire life infiltrating, manipulating, and exploiting the Forrester family. Steffy's tirade is a masterclass in righteous indignation. She systematically dismantles Ridge's justification, refusing to accept that sacrificing her career is the key to corporate peace. She reminds him of the countless hours she has dedicated to keeping Forrester Creations afloat while others engaged in petty personal dramas. She recounts the financial triumphs, the global expansions, and the critical acclaim the company has achieved under her direct leadership. She paints a vivid, undeniable picture of her own competence, contrasting it sharply with what she views as Brooke's opportunistic, unearned ascent to power. In Steffy's eyes, Brooke has not earned the right to sit in the CEO chair. She has merely manipulated the men around her to secure a proximity to power that she could never achieve on her own merit. As the argument escalates, the ghost of Stephanie Forrester seems to materialize in the room, her legendary disdain for the Logan women channeling directly through her granddaughter. Steffy invokes the memory of the Forrester matriarch, reminding Ridge that Stephanie would rather see the building burn to the ground than allow Brooke Logan to seize total control of the family's legacy. Steffy declares, with absolute, unwavering certainty, that she will never, under any circumstances, back down. She will not be the sacrificial lamb offered up to appease Hope's bruised ego or Brooke's insatiable thirst for dominance. She is a Forrester, and Forresters do not surrender to Logans. The confrontation rapidly transitions from a heated argument into a formal, terrifying declaration of war. Steffy does not merely refuse to step down. She threatens to unleash a legal and corporate bloodbath that will shake the fashion industry to its very core. If Ridge attempts to force her out, if he tries to leverage the board of directors or manipulate the shareholder votes to install Brooke in her place, Steffy vows to fight him with every legal weapon at her disposal. She promises to entangle the company in a web of litigation so complex, so incredibly damaging, that the resulting instability will make their current internal squabbles look like child's play. Steffy's threat to ignite a legal war is not an empty bluff. It is a calculated, terrifying promise. She is intimately aware of the company's bylaws, the distribution of shares, and the vulnerabilities of the executive structure. She makes it abundantly clear to Ridge that she is willing to drag Forrester Creations through the mud, expose their internal dysfunctions to the global press, and risk the financial ruin of the entire enterprise rather than quietly submit to a Logan takeover. She forces Ridge to look at the horrifying reality of his request. In his attempt to save the company from a minor defection, he has just triggered a civil war that could destroy the empire entirely. The stability of Forrester Creations, once the bedrock of their family's wealth and influence, is now dangling precariously over a cliff, held hostage by a daughter's righteous fury. The tragic collateral damage of this explosive confrontation is the complete and utter fracture of the father-daughter relationship. As Steffy glares at Ridge, the profound love and admiration she once held for him is eclipsed by a cold, calculating hostility. She no longer sees the father who held her hand through her darkest hours. She sees a corporate adversary, a traitor who has aligned himself with the enemy. The bond that has survived countless family tragedies, betrayals, and heartbreaks has finally snapped under the unbearable weight of this ultimate betrayal. Ridge, standing in the crossfire of his daughter's wrath, realizes with a sickening sense of dread that he may have permanently lost Steffy. He sought to neutralize the monster she was becoming in the boardroom, but in doing so, he has unleashed a far more dangerous, vengeful entity. Steffy's rage is not solely directed at Ridge. The true, unadulterated venom is reserved exclusively for Brooke Logan. As the confrontation reaches its boiling point, Steffy makes a dark, unbreakable vow. She swears to make Brooke pay a devastating price for daring to orchestrate this Machiavellian power grab. Steffy believes that Brooke has manipulated Hope's genuine frustrations into a weapon of mass corporate destruction, using her daughter's pain as a stepping stone to seize the ultimate prize. Steffy's hatred for Brooke, a generational animosity that has simmered beneath the surface for years, now erupts into an all-consuming obsession for vengeance. Steffy promises that she will not simply defend her position. She will actively dismantle Brooke's life, her ambitions, and her legacy. She will scrutinize every move Brooke makes, intercept every strategy she formulates, and humiliate her on the grandest corporate stage imaginable. Steffy vows to prove, once and for all, that Brooke is nothing more than an opportunistic interloper, utterly incapable of leading the Forrester empire. The impending war will not be fought with mere boardroom votes. It will be a psychological, emotional, and legal siege designed to break Brooke Logan's spirit. Steffy is prepared to leverage every contact, every ounce of her influence, and every dark secret hidden within the company's vaults to ensure that Brooke's dream of becoming co-CEO turns into a waking, inescapable nightmare. As the meeting concludes, the silence that returns to the executive office is no longer heavy. It is suffocating, toxic, and pregnant with the promise of impending doom. Ridge is left standing alone amidst the wreckage of his shattered family dynamic, the echoes of Steffy's furious declarations ringing in his ears. He must now face the horrifying reality that his desperate gamble for peace has ignited the very war he sought to prevent. The lines have been irrevocably drawn. The factions are preparing to mobilize, and the future of Forrester Creations hangs in the balance. Steffy Forrester Finnegan has transformed her profound heartbreak into an impenetrable armor of vengeance, and she is ready to burn the world down to protect her throne. The battle for the soul of the Forrester Empire has officially begun, and there will be no mercy, no surrender, and absolutely no prisoners taken.